So I'm being told by our producers, again, we're watching this in real time, that there is no audio on this, but you do not need to listen to this, because what we are seeing here is kick after kick. It looks like in the direction of Tyre Nichols' head. I was just at that intersection earlier tonight, and believe it or not, it is 3 houses away from where Tyre Nichols' parents live. He was running in the direction of his parents' house. This overhead camera here, it's called Sky Cop, and they're all around. Oh, and it looks like an officer here has a baton. Looks like they're holding him up. Oh, man. The family described this video. They are literally holding him up. Oh. There's some violent punches being thrown. He's literally being held up and beaten with a baton and fists right to the face. I can count 4 officers on the scene right here. He does not appear at all to be resisting arrest. In fact, he appears to be lifeless at this point. An officer now on top of him, on his back, it appears. Looks like another responding unit is in the area. Again, this is 3 houses away from where his parents live. We cannot escape that fact. This video coming from a camera they call Sky Cop here in Memphis. It's attached to an electricity pole right above the neighborhood where his parents lived. It looked like another officer just came in and now kickstart once again. I have 2 Memphis City Council members with me here that have joined Top Story tonight. I thank you for your time, and I know it's not easy to come and speak on a live broadcast like this as we're watching this video in real time. How disappointing is this?
Yeah, it's hard to put words to it, but the lack of regard for humanity and the sanctity of life. These are the men and women that are entrusted to protect our community, and they're well trained, and they exercise incredibly poor judgment would be an understatement.
I think what is the evidence that is, at least at this part, that you just cannot dispute, is that he was being held up and he was being hit with both a baton and fists.
Yes. They're trained in techniques time and time again in order to get a suspect to comply. And ultimately, what's so disappointing is that this was an alleged reckless driving charge in which somebody feared him for their life and ran, and they could have ended there. They had possession of his vehicle, and the entire incident, if you talk to a trained veteran, would have told you, we've got the car, we can find the suspect later, there's no need to chase him down.
I think at this point, this is the point where both the Nichols family and their attorneys are saying first aid was not rendered. He's been beaten to a pulp from what we've seen on these cameras, clearly, with batons, with fists, with brutal kicks to the head, and now he's being held up, and no first aid is being rendered at this point. He can't even stand up. Look, he just slumped over.
That's the hard part, is officers on both sides that are
they're literally dragging his body into the police car.
So they'll prop him up here and wait for supporting units, a supervisor, and eventually a fire department, which has our EMT unit. It's going to take about 20 minutes before that ambulance arrives.
20 minutes before an ambulance arrives?
Yes. So our officers failed in duty to intervene and duty to render aid, which is just an abysmal failure of our policies and their training.
The ironic part about all of this is that those cameras are placed there to prevent crimes, to capture crimes. And essentially that's what they did. But it was a crime committed by police.
And no one's above the law. And body-worn cameras, cruiser cameras, and Sky Cop cameras are there to protect all parties.